Today I want to tell you about something that I honestly, legitimately think may be the most valuable lesson that you're going to learn in your life about building wealth. I've never heard anyone else talk about this principle, so I'm going to claim ownership for it. I call it the wealth triangle. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what that is, what it means, how it's going to affect you as far as building wealth and investing and making money. If you're just joining me for the first time, I'm John from Bulldog Mindset, and on this channel, I teach you how to attract wealth in his life, who is able to build a successful business. So the wealth triangle is basically this, okay? It's how you can make money, all right? And there's three elements to this wealth triangle. The first one is interest rate. How much do you get on your money? The second one is money. We'll call this capital. How much do you have to invest? The third one is time. All of these things determine how much money you make if you want to make money. And this is important to understand the relationship between these things. If you have two of these things, you can get rich. You need at least two of these things. If you have all three of these, you can get rich quick. Okay? Well, relatively quick. It depends on time, right? You can absolutely get rich. You can make a lot more money. Let's put it that way. Let's talk about each one of these elements. What is the interest rate? What is the return that you're getting on your money? Interest, how much you're getting on your money is huge. It's a huge factor. I'm going to show you some actual numbers in a calculator here in a second, so make sure you stay tuned. But you can get interest rates from everything from bank interest rates of like 0.01% to interest rates of maybe you can get an interest rate, a return on your investment of 10% or more. And if you do some really good real estate investments, you might even be able to hit like 25% numbers. Okay, it's not unheard of. Depends on how you do this. Okay, time. We're looking at time span here, right? A lot of people look at short time spans. You could have 1 year time span, right? You could be holding on to something for 5 years. It could be 10, 20, 30 years. If you give me 100 years, I can get you rich on a very small interest rate. And capital, how much money are you starting with? All right, do you have 1K to invest? Do you have 5K? Do you have 100K? Do you have $1 million, right? Or more. Let's say you have $10 million. Okay, now when we combine these things together, this is what really tells us how much money that we're going to make. Now, again, this is some basic math here, but most people don't think about this stuff. So let's say that you have a nice 10% interest rate, okay? And I give you 10 years, and I give you $100,000. Look at this. You're getting $672,000 is what the future value is, okay? So you're going to make $572,000. That's not a huge amount of money. Okay, most of you need to look really fucking hard at this number, and I'll tell you why. Because this is way better than any of the scenarios that you're projecting. Okay, in order to actually get to where you think you need to be for retirement, you need 30 years. That's $1.7 million. It is not rich. This is not a lot of money. After inflation, after this time, you don't even want to see what inflation is going to fucking do to destroy this. It's not going to be pretty, okay? But this is why I say you need to know what this number is, okay? Because most of you are looking at this, and this is a hopeful number, and this is a hopeful number. You have less than $100,000. You're going to get less than a 10% interest rate, okay? And you might have 20 years. Maybe you have 30 years. Fine. But this is the best that you're going to do in this scenario. It's no good. Okay, so we got to look at the wealth triangle here, and we got to play with some numbers here. What if I give you a different scenario? Or in fact, what is a better scenario? What if I give you a 25% interest rate, and I only give you 5K, okay, but I give you 30 years? What about if I give you 100 years, okay, but I give you a really small interest rate? I give you like a 4% interest rate, okay? And I gave you a decent amount of money, not even a huge amount of money, like let's say 100K. How much money are you going to have at the end of 100 years if you're getting a 4% return? Right? We're going to run all these scenarios so you can see some of these things. But I want you to think about this, because what I want you to understand is that you need to have two of these. Let's look at some of the extremes here. Let's go through a few of these. Okay, let's do that one. I said if you had a lot of capital, if you had $10 million, okay? This is $1 million. If You had $10 million to invest. And you might say, well, if I have $10 million, I'm already rich. Let's say you can get a hold of $10 million, someone else's money. It's possible, right? There's ways to do this. I'm just telling you here, okay? Or if you have $10 million, why the rich can get richer, okay? Now, let's say that you have only 1 year, okay? But your interest rate is 25%. This one we already calculated is pretty easy, okay? You're not going to have a $2.5 million gain. That's pretty damn good in 1 year, okay? You can make money. You can be, if you're rich, you can become more rich. It's easy. All you need is a decent interest rate and some years to grow, right? All right, not even years to grow, just one. Now, let's say that you had 30 years worth of time and you get a 1% interest rate on your $10 million. Look at that. You're going to make $3.4 million with just a 1% interest rate. And if you're going to bump that up to 2%, it becomes $18 million. You make $8 million over 30 years, okay? If we do 1% and you have even more time, you have like 50 years, look what happens here. Now we're at $16 million. We make $6.4 million extra dollars, okay? So this is the extreme of having, what is this? Capital, okay? And time. If you have capital and time, you can make a lot of money. All right. So, and which would you rather have? A lot of time or an interest rate? In this case, right, it might be better to have a higher interest rate. But these are the three factors, the things that you can play with. Okay. Most of us are not in this scenario. Now, let's look at another scenario here. Let's look at the interest rate triangle. So, and you should play around with this calculator. Okay. Let's say that you have a really good interest rate. Let's say that you know how to make 40% on your money. It's possible, okay? Really good interest rate. How much money do you have? Let's say you only have $10,000, not a huge amount of money, okay? But we're going to give you a lot of time. We're going to give you like 30 years, let's say, okay? What are you going to make? Look at that. See how much interest rate matters? What is that? $242 million? Is that number even right? Yes, that number is right, because it's doubling very, very quickly. Okay, if I knock this time down and I only give you five years to make 40% interest rate, you only make $53,000. It doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't make sense to invest, right, for compound interest until you have enough capital, because he shows this whole chart of if you invest like $5,000 or $10,000 and how long it takes you before you really start making money, right? You don't really start making money. It doesn't really start to really compound and grow, even with a decent interest rate, until you start to get up into the like $400,000, $500,000, $1 million range, right? Then you start making a lot of money on that money. So most of you, the problem is you don't have enough capital, right? If you're only having like a K to invest or 5K, or 10K, or even 100K, honestly, that's not a lot of money. I know it seems like a lot of money to you. It's not a lot of money, okay? If you don't have a lot of capital to invest, then you're going to need a really high interest rate, okay? And you're going to need a lot of time to actually get rich. See this? 25%, 20, 100K. Okay, I'm going to run that exact scenario, and I'm going to show you that this is the kind of the beginning of where you might be able to start to get rich from an investment. If you have a lot of money, okay, if you had $1 million, you don't even need a very high interest rate. You don't even need a lot of time to make a lot of money, okay? But most of you, like I said, you're in this little scenario. You're in this, 10K, maybe you've got savings, or 50K, or maybe you're doing really good and you got 100K. If you got 100K, okay, then you've got to think about this. You have little money, okay? Your money is small, relatively small. If you have less than 100K, it's really small. So that means that you need to have both of these, okay? Or you need to really have one of these in order to make a lot of money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is if you think that getting a 8% interest rate, okay, from the stock market or whatever is going to be enough, no, it's going to take a lot of time. If you only have a small amount of money, you're looking 30, 40, 50 years to actually get rich from that. So you got to find this number. This is why I keep on pushing you guys towards real estate, is if you've got a small amount of capital, you absolutely have to be in real estate. Otherwise, this time is going to be too long. So again, two of the elements: years to grow, interest rate. And this isn't even a super high interest rate. I mean, it is for most people, but if you go up in 20%, bam, look at that, $91 million. Okay, that's over a 50-year time period. All right, so this is how wealthy families become extremely wealthy over this, because most people don't have 50 years. But if you take 2 generations or 3 generations, you bet they've got fucking 50 years, right? So these are things to think about. We're going to go ahead and take this and say that you don't have a good interest rate. You just have a decent interest rate, just 5%, okay, 50 years, but you're starting with a lot of money, okay? Let's say that you're going to start with $500,000. Now what happens here? Again, $5.7 million. Okay, so you're getting a $4.7 million, whatever, $5 million gain here on your money because you have enough time and the interest rate. So what does this teach you? Like when you look at all of this stuff, right? These are the scenarios. You have to have 2 of these wealth pillars to be successful. If you have all 3, we could look at that scenario. Let's say that you've got $1 million, okay, and you've got 30 years to grow it, and you're going to get a ridiculous interest rate of 20%. You're going to make a shit ton of money. All right. But think about this. Here's something also to think about. This is starting with $1 million. This is taking 30 years. This is 20% interest rate. And look where you're at, $237 million. Yes, that's a lot of money, but you're not even a fucking billionaire. So think about how much money billionaires make. Think about what the return is, because, and here's the other piece of this, right? I want you to think about this. Someone who's a billionaire, what of these factors do they have? A lot of them started with a principal of less than $1 million. Okay, even someone like, when people are like, "Oh, Donald Trump and this shit," I'm like, he had $1 million loan from his dad. Well, shit, you still gotta earn a pretty fucking good interest rate to be a deca millionaire, to have $100 million. Right? You got to do some pretty good shit for a long amount of time. This is the basic wealth triangle. Okay, interest, capital, time. These are the things that determine how much money you make. You have to have 2 of them to make money. And before we jump over real quick, I'll show you what happens if you have, we can look at each one of these scenarios, okay? Let's suppose that you have capital. Let's say you have $10 million, okay? And you're getting a really good interest rate of, let's say, 25%. But you don't have time. You only have 1 year worth of time. Hey, look, on your $10 million, 25% of that's $2.5 million. Congratulations, you made $2.5 million in 1 year. You don't need time. Time is almost nothing. Just 1 year. Okay, you can have half a year and you get $1.25 million. Pretty damn good. Click that subscribe button down below also, because I'm going to be doing more videos on this topic. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, any questions that you have about this, and I'm happy to answer them. Play with interest rate calculator and join me for the next time. I'll talk to you later.